Council, I believe, are here. Let me see.
They are.
Yep. All right, so that means all members of finance are here and all members of council are here along with the administration. I'd like to remind the public that is attending, which it looks like there are several members right now in attendance, that if you have at any time that you would like to present to the board as the chairman, I would ask that you put request in the Q&A. Recognize yourself. Just put your name, your address, so that we can identify you as a resident or a non-resident. And I will go ahead and recognize you in this meeting when necessary or when you request. So today's agenda here, we're going to. It's pretty thin. Does everybody have the finance agenda? We have no items right now for looking at for July council, but before we get into the mayor's report or into Betty's report, I want to go ahead and recognize Mr. Burnham and Miss Salaz.
Yes.
Salaz. All right, my apologies.
No problem.
You guys go ahead and you guys can take the floor and present on the residential PACE program.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. I'll kick it off. I will tell you, Lori and I are a little rusty with this topic. We haven't had a chance to talk to any city councils or village councils or township trustees since probably around the end of last year on this topic with the pandemic and everything. Most of the communities put it on hold. So basically what you have in front of you is a residential PACE program that's being put on by an organization called Renovate America. And it's in a cooperative arrangement between a local community like yourselves that want to opt into this program, the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority, and the county primarily, and in a secondary role, the Development Finance Authority, which is the organization Lori and I work for. So you have already opted into a commercial property assessed clean energy plan. You are a member of the Energy Special Improvement District for Summit County, which includes probably over half of the communities in the county now. We've been able to have 4 commercial PACE projects, 4 property assessed clean energy commercial buildings, be updated with energy efficiency improvements by virtue of that property owner wanting to do a voluntary assessment on their property to pay for those improvements over time. And those 4 projects range from $5 million in downtown Akron. The smallest one is a $1 million project in Bath, an office building out on Springside Drive. We've done actually 2 projects in Bath and a project in Barberton. So Ohio is one of the four initial states to enable homeowners to make energy efficiency improvements to their home and have the ability, if they choose so, voluntarily to pay for those improvements over time through a special assessment. The Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority, long story, very short story, long story, is port authorities have the ability to finance projects in any county in Ohio. We have actually done things in about 9 counties, but for lots of reasons, we and the Columbus-Franklin County Port Finance Authority and the Cleveland Port Authority determined Toledo would be the organization best suited to manage this plan statewide. So you would actually enter into a cooperative agreement with the Toledo Lucas County Port Authority to enable you to bring this financing mechanism to your residents. You have to think of it as voluntary, and it could be a resident at the southern end of the village, and it could be a resident at the northern end of the village, and somewhere in between. There's no adjacency requirements. It just is a resident maybe wants to put in a new furnace or a new roof or new windows, new lighting, different things that result in energy efficiency.
Can you turn off your car?
Pardon me?
Can you hear that?
No.
Hey,
Janet, are
Janet.
you muted?
Janet, are you asking questions in the meeting?
I mean, it's still showing I'm connected. Sorry.
Mr. Burnham, go ahead and go.
Yes.
Okay. So what I was going to say is it's completely voluntary. Renovate they have a technology platform, and they have a list of contractors that Lori's going to kind of go into some consumer protections in more detail, but they have contractors that they vet and that they monitor to assure that they are not overselling, that they're delivering quality product to the residents in your village. Renovate is a financing tool, and the interest rate that they would charge on the improvements that a resident might do range from about 2.99% to about 9.99%, depending on the credit quality of the borrower, of the homeowner, and the length of the asset that they're financing. So I'm going to ask you to have Lori talk to you for a few minutes about the consumer protections, and then we'll open it up to questions after that, if that's okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, this is Lori Salaz with the Development Finance Authority. And Ohio has enacted some consumer protection policies, as Chris was stating, to protect homeowners. Some of those policies are with underwriting. There's a minimum FICO score requirement of 620. There is a debt-to-income ratio calculation that determines a homeowner's ability to pay. They make sure that they're current on mortgage payments, that there's no notice of default, they have no involuntary liens over $5,000. Then what Renovate does is once a homeowner decides they want to do this and they're given the quote and the paperwork, they actually phone the homeowner. It's called Know Before You Owe, and they go over in detail all of the terms of the financing and the improvements that are going to be done to the property. That way the homeowner has a clear understanding of exactly what it is they're doing. As Chris stated, the contractors have to be licensed, bonded, insured, and in good standing. And then after the project is completed, they place another call to the homeowner to make sure that they are satisfied with the work that was done to their home before they will authorize payment to the contractors.
So with that, I think we would entertain some questions. And I would tell you, one final comment maybe, I think every community to the south of the village has opted into the residential program in Summit County, with the exception of Monroe Falls, who hasn't reviewed it yet, the village of Mogador, and I'll say Hudson, which is adjacent to you. Everybody else so far has elected to be part of this program. One more consumer protection, the ultimate one that you have, is if you decide to opt in, you also have the ability to opt out. So if you join this program and for some reason your residents determine that, you know, it's not working effectively or like it should be, you control whether you want to remain in it or not. And that's part of the cooperative agreement that you would sign with the Toledo Port Authority.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Is it, Mr. Burnham, are you okay with fielding questions right now?
Yes.
Okay. Members of council, administration, does anybody have any questions regarding the presentation on the residential PACE program?
I do. What type projects have residents been using this for, and like what dollar size? And is there a commercial option for a non-residential but commercial properties?
Well, the commercial property option's been around for a while. The first project we did was the One Cascade Plaza building in downtown, which we actually financed with new boilers. The commercial PACE has been around nationally much longer than the residential program. The residential was introduced in California a few years ago. It exists in Florida. It exists in Missouri. And it's being brought to Ohio. Today, no resident in Summit County has used this program. Over the course of the last year or so, a little less than that, communities have opted in. First you join the ESID by being part of the commercial plan, then you have the option to do this residential if you want. It was kind of sort of getting ready to ramp up near the beginning of the year. And for lots of reasons, I think primarily just kind of related to economic circumstances, the Renovate people just haven't been very aggressive. They aren't really out marketing it. We expect that we're going to see a project probably over in the Akron area. I know someone is talking to them about a new furnace. So that's the best way I can answer the question right now.
Okay.
In terms of size, you asked about size. I mean, it depends on the credit quality of the borrower and whatever it is they're financing. So, if you have a 640 credit score and you need a new furnace, you could use someone like Blend & Sons who has a financing program. You can maybe put it on your credit card if that's your only alternative, or you could look at this as an alternative. It's just another way to finance energy efficiency improvements. It gives people more choices than they have today. I think that's the best way to look at this.
Thank you.
So, Chris, if we had a resident who, let's say, needs to put a whole new roof on their house, or as you're saying, a furnace or the water system needs to be redone, those are the kind of minimal projects that could be applied for?
I don't know what I can answer necessarily the minimum. We've seen a couple examples where the improvements are like $10,000 and financed over 10 years or 15 years.
Okay.
And again, it's subject to someone with a lower credit score is going to pay more interest than someone with a better credit score. And in some places, people find that unpalatable, but I think that's just a function of the marketplace. But you can't use this program if you have less than 620 as a credit score and the other things that Lori pointed out to you. that need to be addressed. The contractors that renovate, vets, and certifies have a computer program that, as they go through a question and answer survey with the prospect, they're able to determine whether or not the person meets these credit quality scores before they can tell them that they can move forward. And then, like she said, there's another line of defense that Renovate does when they get the application with the know before you owe call.
All right.
Does any other members of council have any other questions? Betty, go ahead.
Mine is totally a bookkeeping question. The resolution, ordinance, legislation will be on the agenda for the next meeting and first meeting in July. What all has to be done besides pass the resolution?
After you guys, and I'm sure Marshall's going to look at this stuff.
Yeah, he already has. And
yeah, the attorney, then Lori will send you the contact information in case Marshall has any other questions or information he needs. Lori will send them Caleb Bell and Collins contact information. They work at Bricker.
Okay.
The only responsibility you have, Betty, is annually when I think it's in September when assessments need to be certified.
right.
The county will send you the addresses, and let's say there's 3 of them in Boston Heights, and they'll want you to certify that those addresses are valid. You provide notice to the Toledo Port Authority that they are, and in the event you don't, the Toledo Port Authority, as the administrator, has got the responsibility to follow up with you and make sure that they are valid.
Okay, that's what
That's it.
Okay.
Betty, can I add something?
Absolutely.
In terms of what is needed on the front side in order for you to opt in, one of the documents that was forwarded it starts with an ordinance approving. Basically, that's a resolution that you guys would adopt that states that you're accepting this plan and you want to go into a cooperative agreement with the Toledo Port Authority. And then those documents need signed.
I think Marshall has that done. I just haven't gotten it on the finance for tonight yet. It's pretty long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real long. I was at it. I'm not gonna name the community, but there is one community in Summit County that required that the whole thing be read out loud. And I was in that council meeting for much longer than I anticipated.
Yeah,
But
2 hours later, right?
it was pretty. The clerk had to take a break to go get a drink, I think. That resolution authorizes adopting the plan, the residential plan, and like Lori said, entering into the cooperative agreement. Lori, I can't remember. I think on the front end, the ESID's already, there's nothing the ESID has to do to welcome bus. Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah, and Mary, I think and Betty, DFA we're managing the Akron Summit County Energy Special Improvement District. But our role in the residential program really is pretty limited to like educating the public like we're doing right now.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, in the spirit of long council meetings and needing drink breaks, what other questions do we have right now to our friends down at the Port Authority on the PACE program? Seeing none, I'd
Hey,
like
John,
to,
just one quick question. If someone wanted to inquire about like if a project is even worth pursuing, like is there someone they can talk to just to kind of bounce it off them so they're not wasting your time and everybody's time?
Yeah, hey,
There-
Lori, why don't we could get them the information so they can provide that to their residents, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
and-
that would
and
be
does that
wonderful.
come- and Lori, does that come in brochures? Is it a website? Is it a link? That we
There
need to put-
there is actually a website. It's simply www.renovateamerica.com.
renovateamerica.com. Okay, so we can ask the administration to get this information and be able to pass it on to the residents.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Okay. All right, that sounds great. Any other questions here? Thank you very much, Lori, Chris. Really appreciate always your willingness to come up and be a part of our meetings and be a part of the community and provide the support that you provide. And thank you for the information on the PACE program. And we will make sure that it's on the council agenda in July and notify you how the vote goes.
All right,
Wonderful.
anything in
Thank
the
you for your
meantime,
time.
please let us know, and hopefully we'll have a chance to see you all sometime. Not
Yeah,
in the future.
absolutely. Aren't these Zoom meetings getting a little bit old, right?
Just so that
They
you
are.
know, meetings of government agencies like this are limited to 10, at least into July. Another statement has been made. I call in those meetings quite often, not every day now, but that was a question asked actually today, and some of the communities want to get back in the meeting regularly, but you can't have over 10 people, so it makes it pretty hard for the audience to participate. So
Right.
once they ease those restrictions, I think we're good to go.
All right. All right. Well, it'll be
Okay.
nice to see you, Mayor. Okay.
Lori, Chris, you can go ahead and sign up off unless you're dying to know what's going on in the world of the Finance Committee for the rest of the meeting. If not,
All right.
Thank
you.
you. Have a
You
good
guys-
evening.
stay safe and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, Mayor, we'll go ahead and move on to your report.
Okay. I have just a couple things we haven't touched upon during the council meeting. Those of you, the pool opened this past Saturday. It was a beautiful day. We had 50 passes turned in. I got up there a little before 1 and there were 8 people waiting to get in the pool. So are people still excited about being able to use the pool and the whole thing? So far, we have everything coordinated with Hastings, and there have been no problems, so to speak, of anyone not being able to get in or complaining. Everybody's bringing their own chairs, so they don't have to worry about that. And we have provided sanitizing spray for them to use on our tables so that people can use those. And on break time, they spray them down. So that appears to be going well. I don't know how many, we have a count on how many passes we've sold. We made the passes this year that on just thick paper so that they're a one-time use. That way we don't have to worry about pollution or passing germs. And they were going to take sign-in of the people at the pool the first day, but as we discussed it there, I said, you're going to have to wipe the pen down every time. So the passes that are turned in have a number on. When they buy the passes, those numbers are associated with whoever purchased them. So we can find out who was there, whatever it is, if we needed to know that. So we're not having them do any sign in, and we're trying to keep the distancing going. And if you haven't been down there to see the pool, we took and put 6-foot markings all the way in and all the way around the pool, 6 foot away from the pool, so that whoever comes to set their chairs up, they know what 6 foot is and what the distancing rules are. So, and the lifeguards can enforce that. The new tractor is in. Some of you may have seen it out on the road already mowing. It has mowed the intersection or all the inner circles here around the turnpike and down both sides of Route 8. Charlie tells me it's been around the village at least once, and they're making another round. The boom arm is ready. Well, once the tractor's ready for the boom arm is not in yet. When it is, Akron Tractor will come pick the tractor up and put that on, and then we'll be able to mow behind the ditches. Some of the places I think that people are really going to be interested in seeing mowed is, for instance, on the new Boston Mills West, kind of some good-sized ditches. We'll be able to mow the back there for those residents, make a pass. And it's not going to be mowed like every other week maybe, but it will be there. The other place we're really looking forward to using it is on Chittenden behind the fence between Chittenden and New 8. And we'll be able to mow that down so there'll be more sight view to Route 8 there and the whole thing. Other than that, we've been going on here, and I don't know, Betty, is there anything that?
No, I failed my task. I was going to give a report today, but for all of you, I was out of the office for about 4 or 5 days. And so I got back today and I'm running behind. So you'll get, I need to keep you updated on our income and our outgo and what's happening with all of this CARES Act. So I will do that next month. I apologize.
And when you get that ready, Betty, that could go out even before the council meeting if it's ready, and we'll get it out to you so you can look at it. And if you have any questions, we'll have them there. That's all I have, and I don't know if Betty has anything else.
So just to be clear on the pool being open, someone comes up and they buy the passes in advance, and they're not necessarily buying the passes for a particular day, but they buy passes that then they would be able to use when they come in, and that's where you get into cases where there might be people in line because we've already maxed out our capacity.
Right. So far, we have not had that problem.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for the mayor or even for Betty? No? Okay. Right now, for the council meeting in the beginning of July, it looks like we have the PACE program and the minutes of June 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall, Mayor, Betty, even members of council, I guess one of the things I forgot to ask, sorry, is does anybody have from their council committees any reports that they would like to give for financial or for legislative purposes?
I'm sure by then we will have more.
What's that, Betty?
I'm sure we will have more by then, by the next meeting than what it is now.
Okay. Does any members of council have anything coming out of their committees that they'd like to talk about for money or for legislation? Okay, and then Marshall or anybody in the administration, is there anything that we can anticipate from a council standpoint for what will be on that agenda?
I don't have anything that that is for sure going to be on the agenda, so we'll just wait and see how it develops.
Okay, I mean, it'd be completely acceptable when I have a light July 9th agenda, and I don't think anybody's gonna have a hard time with that if we don't do a heavy night of business.
Right.
But obviously everybody's willing to do so if there's gonna be, but it'd be nice to be able to anticipate what those items are. So it looks like the PACE program, some minutes, and then maybe some maintenance type items that are gonna come up over the course of the next couple weeks. That being said, does anybody else have anything that they need to bring up for old or new business for the good of the whole? Members of the public, I'd like to remind you, speak now or hold your peace. Ask your question in the Q&A, and you can be recognized. Seeing none of the members of the public that would like to ask any questions or participate in any manner, there's no reason for executive session. Anything else? Looks like we're good. We'll go ahead and adjourn the finance meeting at 8:15. Everybody stay safe. Keep your family safe and enjoy the holiday. We'll be talking after the 4th of July.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a great
Good
night.
night.
Bye, everybody. Mayor, hold off. I'm going to give you back the host.